Okay, today is not so much a rant as it is a little bit of insight into exactly how a storyteller thinks. Now, this is going to be specifically towards Werewolf the Apocalypse, however, it can be translated into other games as well. The biggest thing is the web of repercussions. Every time a character takes an action, there is a reaction somewhere else. There is a counteraction. Best example is dealing with spirits. If you mistreat a spirit, if you get the better end of a deal on a spirit and the spirit realizes it, that spirit's not going to like you much. They're going to, for lack of a better term, rape you next time they have to deal with you, or your friends, or whatever it may be. Werewolf a lot of times is you live by the pack. Then after that you live by the tribe, you live by the sept. Therefore spirits will blame your packmates for your misdeeds. They will blame your tribe for your misdeeds. They will blame your sept for your misdeeds. This is all part of what we have to take into consideration every time you take an action. So it annoys me a little bit when I see those players who get upset because this spirit over here is mistreating, Jane Doe over here. Why? Because of something you did. And they think, oh, well, they didn't do it. It should be my penance. It is your penance. It's just, werewolf's all about the whole phrase of, am I my brother's keeper? Because indeed you are. This also goes over to tribes. You mistreat somebody with, in another tribe. You wrong a get. The get are going to expect that get offenders to repay you in kind. If that get offenders dies or is unable to, another get offenders is probably going to repay you and show you exactly how strong they are. And that extends to most of the tribes. Of course, now you run into territory. Good example, we have a problem happening in our game. Couple of Guru, they bumped uglies. One was a Bonar, one was a Black Fury. The Black Furies are demanding some kind of major retribution. Functionally, they want to cut off the genitalia of said Bonar and feed it to him just before they kill him. And the tribe is calling for this. However, you do run into litany issues. Respect the territory of another. At this point, the territory belongs to the sept itself. The sept leadership is not Black Fury. Sept leadership is a little bit in transition right now, but more or less at the head of it is a Silver Fang. And behind that Silver Fang is a Bonar advisor, whether he likes it or not. So it's a little less likely the Bonar is going to be killed over this, but the Black Furies can't really push it. Unless a Black Fury of high enough rank were to show up and challenge either the Bonar Elder or the Silver Fang Adrian that's pretty much running the sept, there's not a damn thing they can do based on what that Silver Fang decides to do, short of maybe taking it to a trial and letting Philodox grab territory over it and making a judgment that gets upheld. All of these things tie in together. And a lot of players don't realize the repercussions of what they do. They need to. They need to realize why on occasion people groan when certain people join their tribes with new characters. They don't want them in their tribes because they see the damage they do every time they play a tribe. Why would you want somebody in your tribe if you know that when they walk out of it, when they die, whatever it may be, your tribe is going to be behind the eight ball. They're going to be fighting for their, for their pride, for their respect again. Not your fault. It's an idiot's fault. And you can't really kill a character because the player's an idiot. At least not until they've done something idiotic. And by then the damage is done. So I just want people to realize that there are going to be repercussions. And this does extend to your antagonists. If you go after the antagonist, they're going to come back at you. Best example, the leeches, the vampires. You go at the vampires, they have a very long memory. They also have reach into mortal society. So if you go at them and you start trying to kill them, they're going to try to treat you like the beast you are. They are going to turn mortal society on you. They're going to find out what you control and they're going to eliminate it. They're going to find out who you love and they're going to kill them or embrace them or whatever it may be. In the end, that's one of the most terrifying enemies that the Guru have. The worm isn't any better, but with the worm, you at least still have that mystic aspect where you're not seeing the evils of humanity as much as you are blaming it on a spirit that is basically bringing out the evils of humanity, but most people will try to deny that. There is also a balance out there between the antagonists. If you have 8 known enemies to the Sept, and you wonder why don't we just attack with all of them and destroy the Sept once and for all, who's to say they get along? Who's to say that they're not in some kind of war of their own? I mean, if you've got a Camarilla city to your north, a Sabbat city to your south, and let's say a Giovanni-controlled city to your east, chances are none of them are working together. And the Camarilla is not going to want to waste its resources on you when it's worried the Sabbat's going to roll in on it. The Sabbat's not going to want to waste its resources on you when it's got the Camarilla to aim at above it. The Giovanni are going to be playing everybody off there, and if the Giovanni commit, it's because they have some kind of ulterior motive. You put into all that, you have your Pentex or your Titan, one of these, these Uber companies. Do the vampires have any control? What other forces have control in there? And you got to look at the fact of how much do they want to risk alienating or pissing off other antagonists that might launch attacks at them. Hell, one of the best guru tactics I've ever seen is playing enemies off against each other. It's a very tricky thing to do, and not many are able to do it. But sometimes, if you get a particularly canny leader, it is worth a try. So that's the rant I'm having here. Is just I want people to realize that it's about actions and reactions. It's about pursuing your agenda and accepting the repercussions, whether they are good or bad. If they're good, more power to you. If they're bad, it's just another hurdle for your character to overcome. It's just something for them to drag themselves up by the bootstraps. That makes characters go from being somewhat memorable to legendary. You don't want to be the hero, you want to be the legend in the end. Because, what was the phrase? Heroes are remembered, but legends never die. I believe it's a variant of the line from The Sandlot. It is very applicable to the werewolf genre. And that's my rant for today, at least on that. So, have a good day.